So you need a truck, but your dreams are big, your nuts are small, and your pockets are empty. What do you get? Whether you're into four-wheeling, drag racing, going to Home Depot, getting bitches, or you're on some yee shit, there's one truck that hits all the boxes. And that is... I just picked up a clapped out GMT800 Sierra. So today we're going to show you guys some questionable methods on how to get it looking brand new and minty again. Let's go, boys.
I'm at the tippy top of my game, looking down at the rafters. I had to sun these boys, can't leave them bastards. A lot of dudes, just some undercover actress. I don't fall for it, I'm privy to all your tactics. Yeah, so try again, this time take a vitamin. Yeah, invite them in, welcome to the Lion's Den. And I'm Mufasa, big boss in charge of coming in like a bull. You see me raise
The GMT800 was GM trucks made from 1999 to 2007, also known as the NDS. Over the past 25 years, these trucks have proven they can stand the test of time from their reliability and durability. But if you live in the Midwest, like me, you struggle with finding a truck that isn't absolutely rusted out. Rust, more rust, and once again, more rust. The salt is not nice to these trucks at all. So, we're gonna show you how to overhaul this thing on a budget and make it look like a newer, nicer truck. The first thing I like to do is give it a light cleaning so we can get a really good look at what we're working with and how to approach it. All right, boys, I want to start with the clean plate to see what we're really working with. So before we do anything else, we're going to hit the car wash. The thing is absolutely filthy. There's tree sap all over it. The wheels are absolutely caked in grime and brake dust and all that shit. So I'm going to spray down the hood and all the tree sap areas with bug and tar remover and hope it does something. And wheel cleaner. Gonna kind of let it pre-soak a little bit before we take it to the car wash. It is currently 10 degrees in Wisconsin, so I ain't washing shit with a pressure washer, but we're gonna hit the car wash and see what we come out with. Let's go.
Is it open?
I don't know. Hopefully.
I didn't know if it was going to be open or not.
We're back home after the car wash. Wow. It didn't do shit. This thing's gonna have to get clay barred. We clay bar all our stuff anyways, but you got at least the top layer of grime off. Let's get this thing in the garage and start digging into it. Forgot to mention the most important part is, can it do a burnout? Because if it can't, then we just throw the whole thing in the trash.
I think it even got both wheels.
Yeah, baby, that G80 kicking. So the rear end is fucking hopping all over the place. The wheels got decently clean compared to what they were. This one was the worst one over here. It's significantly better, but she's still shot. Now, before we can do anything else, there was one glaring issue that I forgot to mention. Ain't got no oil pressure. Oh. Yeah. So we're gonna figure out if it's the oil pressure switch, if it's cluster, or this motor's and doesn't have any oil pressure. Before we go any further, spend any more time and money on this thing, that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna pull this cluster out, drop the steering column all the way down, click the key on, shifter all the way down, and this bezel just pulls off. We got Pam. Every 03 to classic 07 is given a name on the dash bezel. It's just the person who did the checks at the factory, but you get the gist.
Good old Pam.
Yeah, thanks, Pam. I love you, Pam. There's 4 7mm nuts on each corner of the cluster, so we just pull those out and this bad boy pops right out. It's one electrical connector in the back and she's out. Now, the mileage is programmed into the cluster. Do with that information as you will. I'm just here to let you know. We pulled this cluster out. We're gonna put it in Lars's truck because we know his works. We want to find out the name of his truck too. Since we know his oil pressure switch is good and his gauge works on his truck, we're gonna see if this cluster reads oil pressure in his truck, and if it, then we verify that it is the cluster and not a bad motor, bad oil pump, and a bad pressure switch. So he's yanking her out now. It says what?
Nancy.
Named your truck after your mom? You're rolling, boss!
Alright, back in park now.
Your shot.
Good thing there's nothing behind me.
Yep. Alright, Lars's cluster is out. We're putting the white truck's cluster in. Moment of truth. It reads oil pressure, so worries me slightly more. So either the pressure switch is bad, or we ain't got an oil pump. The truck runs flawlessly. It's one of the quietest running 5.3s I've ever owned. I've owned a lot of these trucks, so I got a new pressure switch just in case that's what it was. So we'll slam that in, and that better fix the problem, or I'm driving this truck through a building. The oil pressure switch is at the back of the engine. It sits right on top of the block, right behind the valley plate. It's really difficult to get at if you have the intake manifold on, but you can get at it. So after futzing around with that for a little bit, we are finally able to get it in. We start the truck and with our fingers crossed and hope that it was just a switch and it's not an oil pump or a bad O-ring, because I really wasn't trying to drop the pan or pull an oil pump and replace that. All right, new oil pressure sensor's in, but it took absolutely way too long. The trick to doing it is to not kill yourself. Got the dash plug back in, oil pressure switch is in-ish. Make sure garage door is closed and depression is up when you turn the truck on. So here we go, moment of truth. Hey! I seen that little needle move up to 40. I was like, thank God. That was it. Thank God. All right, I'm gonna fire back up and we're gonna run it for an hour and this video will never be posted.
We'll post it to live.
Yeah, we're gonna go live, boys. We're gonna hotbox the garage with exhaust fumes. So now that we know that it was just a pressure switch and the motor does have oil pressure and I don't have to pull a pump or anything like that, it was safe to move on with the rest of the project. So we started with the interior. I started vacuuming and just sprucing it up, get a clean slate, and then move forward from there. That's a come up, baby. Now, I know none of you have ever removed or washed these in your entire life, but believe it or not, these rubber pieces do come off. We got some string to stitch back together the hopes and dreams of this thing staying on the road. All right, because we're out here doing the Lord's work and keeping GMT800s on the road, He allowed us to get home safely so we can make this video and continue to spread the word of our Lord and Savior, the GMT800. As you guys seen in the intro, the passenger side half door was absolutely rotted out. Gaping holes. It was beyond repair, so we hit Marketplace to find a part out. I found a white door about 50 minutes north of us. Hit him up, he was able to meet right away. So we jumped in the truck, headed north, and about 15 minutes into our trip, we literally drove into a snow squall or ice storm, whatever it was. It was a disaster. We passed a semi truck that spun completely around on the highway. Excuse me, sir, can't park there. We were on the highway for like 6 miles and there was like 5 or 6 reported accidents. We seen multiple fire trucks and ambulances and cops and people in the ditch. It was crazy. Things we do for Silverados. But we got to our destination, picked up the door, and luckily we made it home safely. Here's a new door. Also rust. And we got some cool weathered patina pinstriping. But as you can see, we got gaping holes. We got to get a replacement. That's kind of beyond fixing. So We'll rip the trim off this one, 3M tape it to the new one, and she'll be ready to rip.
Whoa!
Oh, an avocado. Maybe not that way. Oh yeah, the tabs are here. Oh, this side, idiot.
I think it's supposed to go up. You look like you're having a stroke. Are you okay?
Where am I?
That's a quality speaker.
There she goes. She's a little crusty, so.
Yeah, it could be worse.
There we go.
Just like the Jeep scene.
Yeah.
I am recording.
Is it recording? We need some lube. Go in your home. What the freaking frack, brother? The BFH. Well, it's on there. Ish. Pro tip. You don't need inverted Torx bits. Regular hex fits just fine. Just gotta find the right one. Voila, new door. Rust-free Texas truck. I don't check for clearance on anything. Slam it and hope it fits.
That's pretty good.
Voila. Definitely not close. Door handles, boys. They're always broken, especially if you got extended cab. It is literally as simple as 2 bolts. Slide the new handle in, 2 bolts, done. It works. Every single one of these trucks that I buy, extended cabs, broken door handles. Literally could not be easier. It costs like $12 for a pair on Amazon, and it's literally 2 bolts, takes 3 minutes. Just fix it. See, 2 bolts, little fingers. One sits on here, one sits on here. Easy as slamming it back on. And just like that, boys. Working door handle. $12 in 3 minutes. Let's go, baby. All right, the gas door is super common to rust on these things. Brand new OEM replacements up for like less than 20 bucks on Amazon. They come unpainted, so we're gonna paint this color match real quick. I'll link everything I got from Amazon in the description below so you guys know what I use if you see something that you want to use as well. But we're gonna get this all painted up real quick and then slam it on the truck. Scuff this bad boy up real quick. The primer, something to grab onto. Good enough for me. Clean it up with some alcohol, wipe it down. I don't have any etching primer, so we're just using some clean metal primer. Do a white coat first, let that set up. Do another one. All right, boys, we got some duplicate color paint match. Maybe this is the Summit White. Lay down some base coat. Now, if you live in Wisconsin, there's 2 things in life that are absolutely guaranteed. DUIs and rotted out rockers on your GMT800. We got a cheap alternative other than welding in new sheet metal to place your rockers. Now, there's a right way and multiple wrong ways to do the rockers. I'm going to show you one of the multiple wrong ways. Get you a wire brush, some spray paint. I'm going to show you the rest here in a second. Let's rock. You want to keep doing that till you hit the factory foam, you know, because the old saying, foam will get you home, or whatever they said. All right, now that we got our rockers all cleaned up with the wire wheel, now we're going to use something alcohol-based to get the metal nice and clean. Wow, that looks amazing. Now the goal here is not to get down to clean metal, because believe it or not, the next step requires a little bit of rust. Rusty metal primer. Now it's been sitting in my garage for a hot minute, and like I said, it's cold as shit here in Wisconsin, so get some pressure in this can. I'm gonna mask off our running boards because we don't want to get overspray everywhere, and This looked like shit. And just like that, we got a rust-free Texas truck. Just kidding, we still got more hackery to do. And if you thought the rest of the truck was safe from this same bullshit treatment, you wrong. We're doing the same thing to the quarters and the fenders. If you notice, this fender here is the only fender that's clean on this entire truck. Just kidding. We hit a little bit down here too. Max, how on earth are you ever gonna get this to look good? Just wait. It's easy, it's simple, it's cheap. Keep watching, we're gonna get to that. And before we can move any further on the rockers, we're halfway dialed in. We got to address the cab corners. So that's what we're doing right now. You already know what it is, baby. Grab you a can of great stuff and start filling in all the cracks and gaps. We'll just use it like Bondo. Alright, boys. I'm about to show you one of the pieces of the puzzle that is a huge saving grace to these trucks here in the Midwest. Fender flares. Ooh. See this rust hole? Cover. See what I mean? $50 for the cheap ones. It's a no-brainer. Come with a little baggie of these body clip push-in deals. They got pre-drilled holes. Pop right in. From China, so they always fit like shit, so you probably have to drill some of your own holes. But get this bad boy on, she's gonna look brand new. There she is, boys. 4 out of 6 holes ain't bad. It looks so much better. I know this thing's a piece of shit, and I'm doing a lot of hack work here, but I promise you, I've done this process multiple times. It turns out it looks really good. It's cheap, it's easy, just takes a little bit of labor and a little bit of money. Take your daddy's credit card, ball out on Amazon, spend like $300. You can go as crazy as you want, but I'm telling you, a little bit goes a long way on these trucks. It's a new day, boys. We got a lot of shit to get done. So all the fender flares are on. Now, the rears fit like absolute garbage. These are some no-name shits from Amazon. The front passenger side is the only one that fits halfway decent. The rears, they got a gap on the back side of them. Now, normally, Tiger brand on Amazon, those always fit perfect. I love those for 800s and 900s. I always get those. They're a little bit more spendy than the cheap knockoff ones, but they're still cheap. I made the mistake of doing this project during the Black Friday week, so Amazon is super delayed on shipping, and I can't get a lot of parts for it's basically like a week. So I actually found a guy locally that sold these rocker covers and fender flares as a package. So I picked those up, not the ones that I normally get, but stupid dirt cheap. We got a lot of work to do, boys, so let's get to it. So I got the DA, some 180 grit. Smooth this out a little bit because we need perfection. Good enough for the girl's eye date. All right, boys, we got our U-Pull Fantastic lightweight body filler. We got our hardener, and then we mix. You need it. Don't stir it because we're doing shit the proper way. We ain't trying to win no shows or awards. We ain't going to SEMA. But I mean, honestly, with the quality of SEMA builds these days, this might be just fine. We're putting rocker covers on this thing, so it doesn't have to be perfect. It's pretty uniform blue now, so we'll get it on there before it starts to harden up, because it's already getting a little stiff. Alright, boys, we're letting that harder. We'll sand her down. It's gonna come around. It's gonna look dialed. I did the same process on the plow truck 2 days ago, and it looks great. While we're letting the Bondo dry, I gotta run into town to get some more lipstick for this pig. While we're on the road, I want to take a second to thank our sponsors. Me. Little Caesars, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. What the hell? Thank you, Max, for all this hard work. Thank you, Max, for making this great content. Thank you. Thank you to me. Looking ass. Alright, boys, we are back from getting our shit. Let's see if our Bondo is dry. Yes, sir. Let's get to sanding. Alright, boys, I'm covered in Cancer Bondo dust. And I got them as smooth out as I care to get them. Ready for SEMA, baby. Clean them up, get some primer on this thing, and then start blasting some bed liner. Cover up my shoddy bodywork. Alright, boys, you remember that door we almost died picking up? The things we do for Silverados. Go ahead. These rust spots, here and here. And on further inspection, we picked it up and it was covered in ice and snow because, you know, snowstorm. This bottom part is actually spray painted real shittily. So I'm going to try and get this looking a little bit nicer. Our trim piece is going to go right over the top here because when we tape, that's what we're going to use to measure off of to how far up we go to make sure it's equal from side to side. Coat number 3, we're going to go a little bit heavy on this one and make it nice and glassy. Alright, baby, let's hit her with some cheap, off the shelf clear. Oh yeah, baby, lots of runs. I jumped the gun. Rip. Now we do gotta wait a day or two for the passenger side to dry, but we are good to go on the driver's side. How we determine how high we need to go so it matches on both sides for the bed liner. We're gonna go from this body line on the higher side where the rust was. Passenger side was rotted higher up, so we're gonna measure from the body line, and we're about 8 inches. Go on the trim. It is 2 inches. Bottom of the trim, it's 4 inches here. Starts at 4, split the difference there. So come down 4 inches from this trim piece. Raptor liner is the best bed liner that I've used by far. I've tried a bunch of the other ones and they fucking suck. I believe this is a urethane based liner. Hands down, my favorite. It's got the best finish. It's like a satin versus all the other ones are like a matte, and matte just looks terrible on everything. I don't care what anybody says. Boom, tell me this doesn't look 10 times better. We got the rockers on. See what I'm talking about with the cab corners? Can't even tell them bitches ever rotted out. Don't look too hard at them. This isn't a permanent fix. This is temporary, or the truck's just too far gone. It's not worth putting the money into. But man, I'm telling you, it really transforms a shitty old truck into something presentable. All right, boys. Driver's side's done. Now we got to get the passenger side. Before we do that, I got to steal the trim piece off of the old door. So we're going to knock that out quick. Use a plastic scraper here. It's just double-sided tape that's on here. It works real well. So we heat it up to loosen it up a little bit and hopefully not snap it, but we finna see. There she is, boys. Hell yeah. Got some double-sided tape here. Put some fresh stuff on the trim and get it pressed on the new door. As far as I know, this chrome trim only comes on the Sierras, and the door we got is off the Silverado. It's all the same stuff, just this specific trim is only for the Sierras. I think the Silverados have more of a cladding style trim, if they have trim at all. Alright, let's get it on the door. Just gonna put some heat on this 3M tape, get it nice and tacky. It's 40 degrees here, shit doesn't stick as well when it's cold. We're gonna eyeball it, we measuring shit, that ain't my style. And hopefully it's straight. Voila. Certified body man. Alright boys, it's time to paint the frame. First thing we're gonna do, grab your wire brush and a screwdriver, start knocking all that scale off the frame. Soak her down, boys.
Amazon truck just pulled up. See what we got. Oh baby. Fuckboy rock lights. Black Friday sale, baby. It was like 27 bucks. We about to light this bitch up and really set it off.
Now, in order to be king fuckboy, you cannot not have rock lights. So, first things first, we gotta pull the trim. Alright, now we're moving this little kick panel here. This one just pulls out. Jesus, stuck on there. Alright boys, for the rock light install, driver's side dash, there's a fuse box. Pull that off, there's an auxiliary fuse that I use for power. And right underneath the dash, by the parking brake pedal, there's a couple bolts you can use for ground. Just use there and then hide your wiring underneath the plastic trim. You hide the receiver unit for it underneath this plastic paneling. Underneath the carpet on the driver's side, your shift cable runs through the floor. There's a rubber grommet. Just punch a hole through that and it'll spider web out near the ABS module. Then you put all your pod lights wherever you want them. In this case, we just did all 4 wheel wells. You will need extension cables. It does come with, I think, 4, and then you can order another however many you want, various different lengths. Then you have a key fob that controls all the different strobe effects and changing the colors and all that stuff. And when you're done, you're full on fuckboy, baby.
Alright boys, I think I got everything painted that I'm going to paint. We got the doors coated in bend liner. We got the frame all painted black with the rust converter. So I'm going to move on to a paint correction real quick and dirty. As you've seen before, there's tree sap and bird shit and whatever else is caked onto this thing. So I'm going to give it a good scrubbing, wipe down, and then we'll clay bar it. Get it polished up and looking A1, baby. Before I go any further wiping this thing down, this new door that we put on's got the graphics on there, so I got the drill with like a vinyl adhesive eraser. Just gonna knock this off and then we'll continue wiping it down. Brand new clay bar, baby. It's pretty common to have rust stains in your paint. It's pretty simple to get off. Just take some elbow grease, grab your little detailer here, and a clay bar. Now we're gonna go over the whole truck like this, but I just want to show you what this shit can actually do. All this is embedded into the clear coat. What a clay bar does is it brings all that dirt, grime, debris, whatever, out of the clear coat. So you can see it works pretty well, but it's a little time consuming. And different clay bars are better than others. This one kind of sucks. There's a little bit of orange tint right here too. We can get the rest out with a buffing wheel and some cutting compound. But to save on your clear coat a little bit, you knock down all the grit in the clear coat before you buff it. You'll burn through your buffing wheels real fast if you don't, and it just won't come out as a nice glassy finish. It'll take a lot longer. Problem areas like this, yes, are time consuming, but going over the whole truck goes pretty quick. You're just knocking down the grit so it's smooth for the buffing wheel.
The final mechanical issue on this thing is "4x4 doesn't work." 4-wheel drive was also another problem on this truck. It wasn't working at all. The buttons weren't lighting up. Transfer case motor wasn't kicking in. It wasn't doing nothing. There's a couple common issues on these things, but I do happen to have a 4x4 switch laying around, so we're going to swap this out and see if that's a problem. And if it's not, then we'll dive into the wiring.
But we got it here. I have it laying around, so try the easy shit first.
And nothing.
Yep, so it's not the switch. Before diving headfirst into chasing wiring on a rusty old truck, check the basics. We checked the 4x4 switch, but now we're gonna go on to fuses. Come around to the driver's side, there's a fuse box underneath this panel. Rip this boy off right here, there's a diagram, 4x4 fuse, it's a 15 amp here. We're gonna check that one first. And that one appears to be good. Second one is the under hood fuse box. This guy right here.
Trek 30 fuse is the fuse on the main power supply to the entire four-wheel drive system. It supplies 12 volts to the transmission control module, and then the transmission control module controls the diff actuator and the encoder motor. No power supply, no 4x4 worky.
Boom, blown. So hopefully that's the only issue we got there, but generally when there's blown fuses, there's underlying issues, so we'll pop a new guy in there and see if she blows again. Now I don't have a spare 30 amp, but I do have a 25, so we are gonna send it. It's alright to go below, but not above on your fuses. Alright, new fuse in, let's see if we got power. Hey! We had lightage for 1 second. Let's see if we can hear the transfer case motor. Nothing. Alright, let me cycle this key again. See if that fuse blew right away. Nope. I bet you that fuse blew immediately. She popped right away. So, we got some wiring to trace that anyways. Can never be that easy. Alright boys, I think I figured out the issue. Now on the driver's side, there's a body mount right behind the front wheel, and there's grounds for your transfer case and some other miscellaneous stuff. Now we tested for ground here before, and that showed there was ground, but with all the corrosion here in Wisconsin, the salt and stuff gets in behind the sheathing, whatever you want to call it, and it creeps up the wire. So it's corroded up the wire. So we cut the wires back up higher and put some alligator clips on here just for testing purposes. Once I did that, was trying to switch out of auto, change to different four-wheel drives. It wasn't blowing the fuse anymore. So that problem is solved.
When there's weak connections, the circuit pulls more amps and generates more heat, resulting in blown fuses. That's why fuses are important. Otherwise, it'll just keep pulling power and generating more heat. And if you don't have a fuse, it'll just start melting stuff, which is more than likely going to cause a fire.
Now we got consistent power there without the fuse popping, but it still wouldn't shift out of auto. So the only thing left is I could hear the front diff actuator engaging and disengaging, but I cannot hear the encoder motor. So we have a bad encoder motor. Picked up a new one right here. I got the old one out. You got to pull the front drive shaft to get at it. So I'm going to pop this new boy in, and hopefully that solves our issue. It better. These encoder motors ain't cheap. But we'll get this back in and we should have working four-wheel drive again. All right, boys. New encoder motor is in. The new fuses are in. Let's try it now and see if we got four-wheel drive. I didn't put the drive shaft in yet, but we're going to make sure that the case actually works. Got lights. Transfer case is in neutral. What the fuck?
This is the point I put the camera down and started beating my head against the wall. For the next 4 days, I tested everything there was to test on the four-wheel drive system. I disconnected the battery to reset the four-wheel drive system. I tore apart the whole four-wheel drive harness, tested every single wire and every single connection point 10 times over. I studied wiring diagrams. I checked every single ground in the truck. I swapped the transfer case control module out of my plow truck into this one, and everything functioned as it was supposed to, except the transfer case would not shift. Until on day 4, I realized something. As I was looking at a wiring diagram, 4x4 low has its own signal circuit. When you want to shift into 4 low, you have to put the transmission in neutral. Up to this point, I had been trying all the other 4-wheel drive positions, except 4 low. So I went out to the truck and did exactly that. And you will not believe what happened. It worked flawlessly. And the transfer case shifted into every position without issue from here on out. Now, I've replaced many encoder motors on many different trucks before, and I don't remember ever having to put the transmission in neutral before the transfer case motor would shift. And I talked to a few close friends of mine. A couple of them are shop owners, and a couple of them are just GMT800 gurus, and none of them ever recall it being procedure to put the transmission in neutral before the encoder motor will switch position. Regardless, I was happy that it was fixed, and I was super pissed at the same time that it was something so simple and it took me so long to figure out. But now that it's finally fixed and everything works, I have one last thing that I want to do to really set off the old 800.
There's 3 things needed to become the ultimate fuckboy: rock lights, squat it, and wheels. I did a thing. Ooh, check me out, son. Hold on, I got to get that wheel. Stock ride height, 20 by 12s, 33 by 12 and a halves, some big boys. And by stock ride height, I don't think there's blocks in there. Well, we do got a factory block, but the bump stops in the front are touching on, you know, the thing. Come on, man. Marketplace score. Paid $500 for these bad units. They look good, but I filmed these clips out of order. I am dead dog tired, man. I've been awake for 36 hours. We had a snowstorm hit. Me and Lars are out doing snow removal. We made a little vlog about that. I'll link that right here. If that comes out before this video does. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Just realized the sun was behind me and you guys probably couldn't see shit. Big rip. There she is, boys. I decided against polishing this unit. It's white. You can't even see the swirls anyways. We'll spray it down. I'm gonna go get some glamour shots of this unit. I'm officially calling it done for now. And peel the stickers off. You don't want to get caught riding around repping somebody else's shit. Scratching the paint, scratching the paint. Let's get this thing unburied. You heard that? Stock ride height on 33s, you thought it wasn't gonna run? Alright boys, found some snowy roads. Let's check out the 4x4. Got her in 4 high. Spent all that fucking time working on it. Let's make sure it works. Oh yeah. Tony. Oh yeah, you hear that rubbing? Hell yeah, brother. Here she is, boys. The final product. Yeah, snow on the wheels. Had a couple of donuts. You know, couldn't resist. But man, does she look good. So how much did we spend to get it to this point? We got 12 on the door handles, 75 on the used door, 205 on the encoder motor, $20 for the Raptor liner, 75 for the flares, 57 for the rockers, 27 for the rock lights, 19 for the gas door, and $46 for the pressure switch, bringing us to a grand total of $536. I am not going to include the wheels on that price because that was just me splurging. That is not required to make the truck look new again. But I can hear my kids screaming for me.
Links for everything I use in the description. I gotta go eat all your peaches and pizza. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Feel like I'm at the tippy top of my game, looking down at the rafters. I had to sun these boys, can't leave them bastards. A lot of dudes, just some undercover actors. I don't fall for it, I'm privy to all your tactics. Yeah, so try again, this time take a vitamin.
GMT800, baby.